Let's make a pair of 1880 chemises. Hi everyone, I'm Caitlin and I teach old-fashioned sewing skills. So today we're going to work on some 1880s chemises. Yes, I do have two 1880s combinations. I don't like combinations. I don't like drawers. I don't like fabric between my legs. So we're not going to wear those. We're going to make some brand new chemises, even though technically I already have what I could use. So I found an original illustration and I'm pretty sure I can make a pattern from that, and we're going to try that today. So let's go ahead and pre-wash our fabric. Because these are washable garments, the chemises, they're underwear, they're going to be meant to be washed and worn frequently. We do need to make sure we pre-wash our fabric, that way no shrinkage or puckering happens in our finished garments. So I'm going to wash our fabric and be back to cut it all out. I already have parts of it cut out. I am working directly from an illustration, no pattern, no nothing. I'm just looking at it going, yeah, I think this is how this is put together. I've seen enough original chemises where I know at least how the interior seams are done. It's just going to be a matter of what shapes these are. My fabric's very wrinkled. I'm going to start by ironing it. And I have 45-inch wide fabric. I think I want 36-inch wide fabric, so I'm probably going to cut it down to the 36 and use the strips for the dress facings, the sleeves on this thing, that sort of thing. Alright, we will be using Wilma, the 1872 machine, to sew on this 1870s chemise, or these 1870s chemises, since we're making a pair. So normally we start with cutting things out, but because I was totally guesstimating on how to even do this, I didn't have the wherewithal to actually film myself doing all that measuring and all that. So I have pieces. I don't know if they're going to work out, but I have pieces. And we're going to stitch them together. In fact, I need the sleeve to see how much not to sew together. And I have sleeves that I kind of sort of figured out here. Alright, so to sew the sleeves together. So up until that point we're going to leave this part not sewn, because this is going to be where the sleeve goes. We're going to sew this, and then because it's not a selvage, we are going to have to run and fill these seams. So I am streamlining this garment, meaning I am doing the exact same thing to both chemises at the same time to hopefully cut down on some sewing time. Let's work on the next step, which is going to be adding the sleeves. So I did take a small break and go ahead and sew the sleeves together, which was very simple. It looks like this. So this is the end part that goes under your arm, and then this, I did make a right and a left. So I make sure that this is the right one. Yes, okay. So we're going to stitch the sleeve in and also fill that seam. Now this is the fun part of making sure that everything gets caught, but there are no puckers anywhere. Same on the other side. Right, I will stitch that and I'll come back here to show how exactly we're going to filled seams. So what I have here is the sleeve, and then of course the chemise. Iron that flat. What I'm going to do first is the felt seam is going to go to one direction or the other. It can either go up towards the sleeve or it can go down towards the chemise. I'm going to go down towards the chemise. And whichever one is on the bottom, we're going to cut halfway, whichever piece. So for me that's the chemise part. And I'm just going to cut it down to about 1/8 of an inch. And this just helps with bulk. So now that we have it cut, I'll lay this flat and I'm going to iron the seam down. Fold the raw edge in half so that it's tucked up underneath. And then we're going to stitch right where I turned it over. So it creates a very nice, neat seam that looks somewhat like this. It's non-irritating because there's no raw edges to rub up against you. And it's very secure because it's been sewn twice. Alright, now I've just ironed the second sleeve down so we can go ahead and fill that. But I think while we are here, and to save a bit of time, let's go ahead and measure out a hem. Not entirely sure why one chemise ended up being a hair bigger than the other, but you know. Now I've been avoiding measuring and cutting for the neckband. But I think after we sew these two things, that's going to be my next step. I'm going to do some gathering threads along the top of the neckline, and we're going to have to figure out, or I'm going to have to figure out what the measurement for this band is going to be. I found with the first chemise that this is a very good time to stop, and since we're not going to be working with the sleeves very much anymore, just to tie up all these loose ends. And we have the hem, of course. So I finally got the neckline to work. It took 3 or 4 fittings and a lot of back and forth, but I finally got it to work. So we're going to start with sewing it on, just with the gathered front and back. And now we get to put on the lace. Now we are putting on buttons and buttonholes. So the front goes 2 little buttons, and I'm using mother of pearl, which I usually use for 20th century baby clothes, but I have so many of them. Buttonholes. Luckily there's only 4 of them with the 2 chemises, but I got all the skirt supports done yesterday, so this is my last little bit of underwear, which is good because we leave in like 10 hours. And I still have 2 bodices and a nightgown and a bonnet and a parasol to work on. Good news is the parasol isn't uncovered yet, so if I have to, it can just be an accessory and have some rips at the very, very top. And I suppose I could probably wear my I do technically have a bonnet. It's my 1870s bonnet, which also works for, you know, early 80s. It's a velvet bonnet, so it's a little bit wintry. And I was going to make myself a straw bonnet, but I suppose if push comes to shove, I can always wear that. So I may not get to that for this weekend, but I am going to do a video on that because I am sick and tired of not having a parasol or a bonnet for summer in 1880s. This has been a problem. I haven't rectified it in like 2 years that I've been doing 1880s, and it needs to happen. So that's going to be top 1880s priority once I get back from the event, if I don't get to it today. Alright, here is the finished chemise, or one of them, since we made 2. I love this chemise. I've seen this design late 60s all the way through the 80s, like early 80s, not like bustle era 80s, but like 79, 80, somewhere in there. I love this. I think it's super cute. Look at that little sleeve. Yeah, I just washed it and yeah, it's all wrinkly, and that's why it's all wrinkly, but look at that. It's like the cutest little petal sleeve. It's a good length, hits right above the knee. Nice and full, so I have plenty of room up here through the hips. I have room to like move and walk. I mean, I think the design is flattering. It stays up really well. I was kind of concerned through the middle of the fittings that this was going to be super, super tight, but no, it's like perfect. I'm actually kind of wondering how I managed this with no real plan or pattern, just image, measurements. Yeah, I know how to put a chemise together. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with it. And this might be my new favorite chemise. I mean, the two of them together, like the set. And I use this from late 60s all the way through 80s. This is like my new thing now. Any type of bustle era, any, pre-bustle, late crinolette, natural form, this is going to be my go-to now. But yeah, I am very, very pleased with this. I think the lace turned out cute. I mean, and the fact that it's sewn entirely on an original machine is awesome. And I would show Wilma here, to congratulate her on her wonderful achievement. But she is still in St. Angelo because we took her to the event. So we had a nice period correct machine, and it was probably the first time I think she came from a historic village. I think that's where I bought her from. But I don't know the time period that, it was probably the first time she's been in a really nice house that was built around the time she was made. And so that was super fun, and we got to play with her all weekend, and it turned out to be really good that I brought her because two of the other ladies hadn't finished their dresses either. And so we were just sewing the whole weekend. And it was really nice to have the period correct sewing machine, and all the visitors were really interested in it. But I'm at the point now where I'm going to start looking for this style chemise earlier and see how early I can push it, because that's how much I like this. I mean, it's super easy to put on. Like, I can button the shoulders and just slip it over my head. I can also just do one button and have one button. And it's really easy to take off because all I gotta do is like flip the, buttonholes and just slides right down. And so that's really nice. I don't have to put anything up over my head. Not that that's really a big deal to have things go over your head. It's just really easy to get on and off. It's really pretty. Again, the sleeve is so cute. And I think it's a really, really nice style. So I kept looking at these and going, okay, it's a little, I couldn't find them like what I normally do, which is 1850s and 60s. I was like, okay, it's a little bit of a later style. I like the look of it. I wonder how it would be made up. And I have never seen anyone make up a chemise like this. There are no patterns for it, at least that I'm aware. I've never seen anyone make up one like this. And I think doing it on the original machine, I was very fortunate to be able to do it on the original machine. And I think that just added a really nice dimension to it. I don't know how many of my viewers actually do this time period. I know a lot of you do 1840s and 1850s because I'm one of the only content creators that consistently does that time period. I know a lot of you do 1880s because my 1880s videos tend to have like a lot more views than my other ones. So maybe y'all would be interested in this type of chemise. I know the 1880s crowd does a lot more of the combinations as far as their underpinnings go, instead of just a straight chemise and drawers, which is still around because I can find, like, this pattern is 79, so I can still find them. They were just being surplaced by the combinations. But I don't know if anyone of you would be interested in this style chemise, if I should go ahead and grade it up and start, reproducing a pattern for it. I think it's just absolutely adorable. But I am starting to look at getting more patterns out there. I am trying to focus a lot more on the kids stuff too, as far as patterns go, because I know there's not very many options for that. But if anyone's interested in a chemise, like, I can make this style chemise, because you see this in kids stuff too. I've seen infant chemises of this style to the 1860s. Maybe this came out earlier? I gotta go research that. But I could make a pattern that's, newborn all the way up to, size 50 bust or whatever. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. Click that little bell notification so you're notified anytime I upload a new video. And as always, have a fantastic week, and I'll see you back here in the next one.